So just a quick one, and I thought of this just now, really, and I thought, if we can really harness microscopic 3D printing technology, and begin, processing large amounts of matter and turning it into nanomachines, essentially, tiny little machines that can swim through our blood and do various like amazing things. We can conquer that sort of technology. I don't really see much of a reason why we can't find a solution to Aubrey de Grey's six major causes of aging. I think there's like a build-up of pathogens within cells, build-up of pathogens outside of cells. I think it's also some mutations within cells, or mutated material outside cells, tumors material in plasma, is it? So that's how you get blood cancers and things. Yeah, and I was thinking of this because it's very interesting. It really is. I mean, the possibility that we could possibly stop aging, maybe, and live for a very long time, or like, yeah, maybe we could stop the aging process. I mean, they achieved this or something like this. I didn't really read the full paper. I did have actually second-hand information from Joe Rogan, which he would be the first person to admit it's not the most reliable source. If you want to know the truth about it, you should go to the research papers, obviously, which I did do, but I sort of skimmed it, so I didn't really get the ins and outs of it. But they sort of accelerated the aging process first and then managed to reverse it. If we do this, why not do this then? I'm just tempted to say. So the first time you do this, you can stay at the age that you are now. Can you not? And then go back to the same age if you like. So you can freeze frame your DNA and go back to it if you like, But when is that freeze frame? And where would I like to be and how old would I like to get? Do you see what I mean? Like before, I want to go back again. Maybe I want to be a bit older and more distinguished. Maybe I do want to be, looking like a man in his 40s or his 30s. And, obviously, like, sort of in shape, sort of like good-looking man, I think. But sort of like a distinguished, sort of slightly older look to him. I'm okay with actually getting old. I always liked the idea of getting old, actually. We'd be all, like a grand old man at the end of the table or something, like saying wise things, being, like white-haired and sage and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, sort of not a forbidding presence. I wouldn't like to be a forbidding old man. I'd like to be like a friendly old man or a friendly old guy. I don't know, it's like one of those dreams, like having kids though, or getting married. I don't really want that. I don't know. I imagine it comes like downsizing, you start to break down. What's the perfect age to be? I've been 27 now, and that was like physiologically pretty okay, but it's a bit too full of something. It's a bit too full of youth. If you know what I mean. I look at some 35-year-olds, you see them dotted around. I've been friends with a few of them, and they sort of they look alright. They look like they're doing okay. They do. They look sort of like we're in the middle of life. This is good. Things are great, or things are going okay. Like that to them. Your 30s do look fun. I don't want to be in my 20s forever. No, no, not at all. And like your 40s don't look too bad either. I mean, like it depends on like what sort of 40-year-old you are. I mean, like I did a video about it the other day. Ricky Gervais was in his 40s at one point, where he was for a lot of his career. He got sort of famous, didn't he, in like his late 30s, early 40s? I think sort of about that sort of David Brent time, with The Office, and he's playing like, in a sense, I suppose who he could have been, probably. Like a sort of class clown, But, yeah, it was, but it ended up working in an office in Slough, making paper, selling paper, or office supplies, whatever it was. An office selling office supplies. What, like, mercurial genius is it? An office selling paper. There's office selling office supplies. What do you do? We sell office supplies. We supplies of office supplies in an office. Like, you're like looking. It'd be like a hall of mirrors in comedic terms, wouldn't it? But anyway, it'd be horrifying. Could do that. No, the paper mill is the right thing. Yeah, well, the paper suppliers. You know, they supply like the media and things, and it's just like a dull little office in Slough where it all comes from. You know, the paper for the mill gets turned inside of the sun or something. Is it whatever? Like, you know, the mutable or immutable, or the mutable boredom of English life, or life in the 21st century UK in an office. And yeah, it is a sort of weird parable of just modern British life. It's great. But yeah, I would like to reach my 40s possibly. So I'm thinking that we might be on the verge of being able to 3D print cells, you know, living organisms. We might be on the verge of being able to 3D print living tissue. You can do that, and my mother can walk again then. Just use nanosurgery, microsurgeries, to remove the damaged part of her spinal cord and replace it with a new part made with her DNA in stem cells. Possibly. Or 3D printed out of the organic chemicals themselves. Using her DNA as a sort of fingerprint for that 3D printing process. Yeah, I've always been thinking of that also. It's led me into nanotechnology and reading about that. So yes, it's always been as though I never cared about my mother and no. Those grim scum that raised me. Or, you know, claim they raised me. Like, damaged me and tried to cover it up. Again and again and again. In the hope of what coming out? Like the solution to an accident that may have been not so much of an accident. Solution to my mother's disability. There it is. 3D printed matter. Organic matter. 3D printed cells. 3D printed cellular structures. Except the nerve is just one big cell. So how do you replace part of it? I suppose you could do it with nanosurgery if you were so inclined, or as a bruise on the spinal cord. So just a little needle, take out the excess fluid. No. I'm not a surgeon. I don't know how to cure build-ups of fluid. What a bruise is it not? Is there no way of curing it, of fixing it? With very, very sophisticated surgeries from the future. I think there's other ways of fixing it than that. Like, she'd never believe it were possible. Never mind. That's such a naysaying attitude. It's awful.